thing is a true story. Some minor changes have been made because the actual event took place in a dimension beyond human comprehension.
And all in all, it was one of the best presentations I've seen so far. That was A+ material, start to finish. That's one student that's certainly going to go far.
I'm glad to hear it.
Might as well start.
No reason to make poor girl more nervous than she already is.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
It's time to start.
I'm coming. There's one part of the project that's not with me yet.
Do you want us to wait?
No, my roommate should be bringing it any minute now, I hope.
Please try to relax. This is just an informal meeting.
You told me my grade depended on this.
Try not to think about it.
We've all read your thesis and supporting material.
All of it.
Actually, I must confess I haven't gotten to all of it. I'm sure you'll fill me in on anything I miss.
I'll do my best.
Why don't we begin with a brief summary of your project?
All right. So, for my master's thesis, I elected to devise a self-sustaining, self-evolving, matter-based ecosystem in a universe of 3 dimensions. And so I created the heavens and the earth.
Now that you've devised this planetary ecosystem, how do you feel about it?
Well, to be honest, I think it's good. Could you be a little more specific? Certainly. I think the Earth has succeeded in every way I hoped it would. The amount of gravity is sufficient enough to keep things on the planet, yet light enough to let trees grow tall and animals run and jump. The weather cycle, given its complexity, is quite efficient. Photosynthesis and oxidation balance each other effectively. All in all, the Earth is fundamentally capable of sustaining itself.
That is, unless, of course, the human being blows it all up.
The human being?
Those are the 2-legged creatures with the smelly armpits.
Oh, yes. We'll get to that later. Go on.
In designing the Earth, I considered aesthetics an essential aspect. I'm fully aware I could have simplified the ecological chain. There's no vital need for zebras or kidney beans, but I wanted to create an ecosystem that was not only effective, but also beautiful and wondrous.
Kidney beans are beautiful and wondrous.
Maybe not in themselves, but without them, it could only be 2 bean salad.
It is impressive how much diversity you created from so few elements.
Thanks. It was the only way I could create a whole universe and stay within the budget.
I'm most impressed with your creation of water.
I must admit, so am I. It may be one of the most efficient liquids any student has designed.
I like how when the temperature drops below freezing, you've designed it so that water falls as snowflakes instead of ice cubes.
Thanks. That took a lot of work.
It is a very impressive statistic. Over 453 zillion snowflakes so far. Only 12 have been alike.
Thank you.
By the way, why did you have an ice age?
Well, to be honest, I screwed up.
Well, that happens. It was early in the term.
I think one of your major aesthetic accomplishments is the fish. Who knew there could be one creature with so many different colorful variations? Why you even bothered with creatures that slither, crawl, and fly, I'm not sure.
Well, you have to understand
They're just adorable.
Thank you.
Of course, I could do without catfish.
But they're good scavengers.
They're ugly. Couldn't you give them a little silver stripe down their side or something?
Can we begin discussing the human being? It seems to me that everything else is insignificant in
Fish are not insignificant.
Granted, nevertheless, it seems to me that the human being is the determining factor in the eventual success or failure of the planet.
Good point. Let's examine the human being.
I consider the human being the crowning achievement of my universe.
You know what I like best about human beings?
What?
Their feet. Not only their feet, they're sophisticated in their design, they're very cute. Can I say these?
Sure.
I do have one question regarding the human being.
Yes?
Why did you make them so stupid?
That's a biased question.
All right, I'll rephrase it. Why didn't you make them smart?
I think they're smart. They've created great civilizations. They've developed magnificent tools and brilliant works of art. Their awareness of the universe is increasing exponentially.
Stop exaggerating. It took them centuries to come up with the concept of the sandwich. I mean, how smart do you have to be to think of putting a piece of meat between two pieces of bread?
Well, look what else they've done. Look at their languages. Look at English. With only 26 letters, they've created a body of literature with great power, feeling, and insight.
So, the creatures on one of the other students' planets created a body of literature that's twice as profound, and with only 17 letters. No inefficient letters like X or Q. Imagine inventing a letter that can only be used if it's followed by a U. What was going on in their heads?
Still, any species that's produced William Shakespeare.
Oh, isn't he the one who wrote, "What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty!"
Yes.
What a bunch of self-serving rubbish.
You don't expect a good grade because you created one genius, do you?
Of course not. The species has also created Socrates, Freud, Madame Curie, Gandhi, Darwin.
All of whom were resented, misunderstood, ostracized, or killed. This is how human beings treat their geniuses.
And what type of organism would only let the Marx Brothers create 13 movies? They were easily good for another dozen.
What I don't understand is why are the human beings so arrogant? They act as if they own the planet because they're a step up from apes.
Humans do have much to be proud of.
If any creature has a reason to be arrogant, it's the cow.
I missed the section on cows.
This creature does nothing but eat grass all day, and at the end of the day, she secretes a liquid that is not only nutritious, but can become cheese and yogurt and butter and over 3 dozen flavors of ice cream. Now, if cows are arrogant, why are humans? Granted, some of them can secrete milk too, but you can't even make cottage cheese from it.
May I remind you, the human being is the sole creature capable of transforming milk into all those other products. Without the human being, the Earth would be a large mass of raw material with unrealized potential.
Are you saying it's a better planet because of cheese doodles?
But there's more to picture than that.
It seems to me that the planet would be just as well off if the human being didn't exist.
Yes, but
They can barely manage their own lives, let alone the life of a planet.
Most of them, to quote one of their own, live lives of quiet desperation.
Oh, except for New Yorkers, who seem quite vocal about it.
Why did you give these creatures domain over the entire planet?
well, you see,
Well,
my roommate was supposed to transport a couple of them up here, so they're really hard to understand unless you see them up close. They're really wondrous creatures.
Wondrous they may be, but can they really run the world as well as cows? You would never see Holsteins enslaving Guernseys because of the white cow's burden.
I'll admit it. I did make one major error in designing the human being.
Their capacity to cope.
No.
Their proclivity towards prejudice.
No.
they're desire to destroy that which they can't control.
No.
What then?
None of them can do sex right.
They certainly try hard enough.
When the universe was still in draft form, I realized I needed to create something to compensate for the brutalizing aspects of life. Something sweet and inspiring that would ensure a peaceful planet. And so I created the orgasm. And I thought it was good.
Are you saying the world would be a safer place if people had more orgasms?
No, I'm not talking about quantity. I'm talking about quality. It's psychologically impossible to detonate a nuclear device if users had a satisfying sexual experience.
Really?
Oh, yes. But I'm not just talking about physical sex. Physical sex is only good for procreation and curing acne, but those who are willing to avert themselves in the sexual act, they're reunited with all the energy flowing through the universe. This spiritual sexual union was designed to cleanse fear from the soul, allowing the human's capacity for goodness to rise above and transform into enlightened action. It worked great in test cases.
What do you mean, go in there? I'll go in there when I'm good and ready.
Don't cause a scene!
Oh, this is just wasn't seen. I don't know who you are, but I'll go in there when I'm good and ready. What the hell is going on?
Make yourself calm. Take a seat, you're late. Wait for one. Just relax, please. This will only take a minute. I'd like to introduce John and Mary Dunn. They're not extraordinary anyway, which is exactly why I chose them. John and Mary live with their 2 children in Dayton, Ohio. John works as an urban planner, helping to prepare Dayton for the future, and Mary's a doctor, specializing in internal sciences. Although their jobs show their commitment to the human race, it's as parents that they feel the greatest responsibility. Their two children are sensitive and alive, and also great students. John and Mary have many hobbies. Mary plays the dulcimer, and John recycles aluminum. I'm proud to put the fate of the earth in the hands of two typical human beings like these, John and Mary Dell.
Well, not that.
You're not John and Mary Dell.
No, I'm John's brother Harvey, and this is my wife Edna.
I told my wife,
They were on vacation, we're house sitting with them.
really? See how caring the human being is?
Well, John and Mary have cable, we don't.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, who the hell are you and what are we doing here?
Well, since you asked, my roommate teleported down to Dayton, Ohio, where he atomized your DNA, or he analyzed your DNA, and transformed it into pure energetic code, and teleported you back here, and having analyzed your DNA, re-atomized you into this dimension.
Yeah, I figured it was something like that.
You don't hope to gain information so you can destroy our planet, do you?
Well, of course not.
Because we don't know a thing, honest.
I believe them. That's what, in our dimension, is equivalent to one of your universities. These are professors, and I'm a student. You're just here as part of my project.
Oh yeah, and what's your project?
I created the heavens and the earth.
Wait, so you're saying that you're...
I am who I am.
Sounds like a...
Are you meaning to tell us that, like, the entire world is just a science fair project?
More or less.
Suddenly I feel so cheap.
So, if you could answer some questions, it would really help my brain.
I work my fingers to the bone and all I am is a part of some nerd science project?
Harvey, please, don't go to hell.
Yeah, my luck if you give the Pope CPR and still go to hell.
Maybe this isn't the best idea. These are the ones that I wanted.
But they are average human beings, aren't they?
I'm sure they're not as common as John and Mary. The other day, my hairstylist called me one of the most common people she knew.
Still, I don't think they're in any position to be questioned.
Oh, that's such a shame. I've got so many questions I'd like to ask them.
Go ahead. Waste your time. Ask about my life.
But they're not the ones that...
I think this is a wonderful opportunity to gain some insight into the human condition.
But
Why don't you just sit and be quiet?
I...
Very quiet. Sit. Now then, Harvey and Edna, why don't you tell us a little about yourselves?
Not much to say, we're just people, ordinary people.
Harvey, what is your occupation?
Oh, you mean what did I used to do before a bunch of pea-brained assholes laid me off? For 14 years, I worked at an assembly line. I woke up every morning, drove 20 miles, and spent 8 hours tightening nuts.
Why were you laid off?
My entire division was replaced by a silicon chip.
I see.
Apparently Sand can do my job better than I can.
Have you tried to get help from your union?
Not yet, but I do plan to talk to my local union official as soon as he's paroled.
The guy was framed.
It's her brother.
He was doing a friend a little favor. If the government hadn't wiretapped that hooker, nobody would have known.
Have you considered changing careers, Harvey?
Well, I thought about being a truck driver, but amphetamines give me
I
headaches.
see.
I do have an interview next week with the local toxic waste dump. They tell me garbage is a growth industry.
Edna,
I'm a directory assistance operator.
what is that?
Well, when people are too lazy or stupid to use their phone books, they call me and they hear directory assistance, and then they tell me who they want to call, and I type in a machine. The machine says the number is 865-3140, or whatever the number is.
And how often each day do you do this?
8, 9 per time.
Are you concerned that this might eventually become boring?
Oh, it got boring after the 4th call.
Why don't you change jobs?
Gee, I don't know. I mean, most of life is boring.
If I can just put this into perspective...
Later, you'll get the change.
But I...
Sit.
Do the two of you have children?
Yes, Michael, who's just about 16, and Wendy, who's 13.
Can you describe them?
They're just wonderful.
Harvey?
They're pips.
Are they good students?
Okay.
What do they excel at? Anything?
Well, Michael was just made leader at his drug rehabilitation center.
Does Wendy do drugs?
Oh, no, never.
She just spends all day in the bathroom dyeing her hair unnatural colors.
Some of which are very creative.
It's like one day her head's gonna end up in an art gallery.
She's going through a rough time. She still hasn't gotten over the shock of menstruation.
Not to question your ways or nothing, but you could not think of anything better than puberty.
Not really, I tried.
She's supposed to be all powerful and all knowing, and she can't even make the tea grow straight. Do you know how much that costs?
Tommy, please, we're supposed to be representing the entire human race.
I think you're doing a splendid job.
How's your sex life?
We really could use the information.
It's fine, just fine.
Oh God.
It's fine.
So both of you are completely satisfied with your sex lives.
More or less.
More or less.
It's fine. Just fine.
Is it?
When you design women, you know how it is.
How is it?
They just don't seem to like it as much as men.
I like it.
Oh, I know you like it.
I like it just fine.
You don't always like it.
I always fulfill my obligations, don't I?
I can't tell you what a turn-on attitude that
Maybe
is.
it's because I get tired of hearing you yell out Ellen DeGeneres' name every
I
time.
do that.
They want to know what we're like.
I've got another question.
Yes.
When you designed women, why did you make it take so long for them to rev up?
Actually, the response signal hasn't been repressed, so it shouldn't take long at all.
See, I told you it wasn't her fault.
Well, it wasn't mine.
Excuse me. Has either of you experienced a spiritual sexual union in which you feel reunited with all the energy flowing through the universe so that your goodness rises to the surface and transforms itself into enlightened action?
What do you think we are, boyhoods?
Hot class up to 6 minutes sometimes.
Those are 6 minutes we'll never see again.
Do you believe intimacy is important in a relationship?
Like sex?
No, I mean intimacy. Being open and vulnerable.
I believe intimacy is the keystone of a healthy relationship.
And what makes you say that?
I read even last month's Cosmo.
It's woman's magazine.
But anyway, I do believe intimacy is important. I mean, without intimacy, sex would be nothing but,
Fun.
I know.
What would you say has been the happiest moment in your lives?
oh, that's easy. It's the day that Bobby proposed to me. We were having a picnic, and I bought potato salad, and chicken salad sandwiches, and carrot raisin
Did
salad.
Harvey bring anything?
I think I picked up a 6-pack.
No, you were going to, but since I had to go to the store to pick up more mayonnaise, you decided to just let me get it.
Why didn't Harvey purchase the mayonnaise when he went to buy the 6-pack?
Anyway, we were just having the picnic. He wiped my mouth with his napkin, and I wiped his mouth with mine.
It's this thing we do.
And I remember Harvey looking at me and saying, let's make it legal. And I thought, this man knows what I want.
And this day was the happiest moment of your life too, Harvey?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah.
You don't have to lie to them. You told me what you thought was the
The
best.
day I proposed was one of the best.
What was the best?
Okay, so it was last summer, and I was having this lousy day. I mean, like, 100% sucker lousy.
Sucker?
A colloquial adjective derived from the verb suck.
The important thing is the day stunk. It was like 100 degrees out and maybe 100% humidity, and it was even worse in the house because all the air conditioners had just been repossessed. And then the mail came, and it was all bills, big bills. I got so mad that I turned on the TV. But we always get lousy reception, and this day there were so many ghosts on the tube, I didn't know what was going on. I got so upset, I threw my shoe at the TV. It didn't break, thank God. Whatever. And then I just left the house and went to the backyard.
And this was the happiest moment of your life?
I'm getting there. So on my way to the backyard, I really don't like being interrupted. On my way to the backyard, I stopped in the kitchen to get myself beer. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are beer drinkers. Whatever. But usually when you drink beer, it's either too cold or not cold enough, or it's got too much foam, or it's just a lousy brand, but you still drink it, because that's what life's about, accepting the beer you're given. But it's nothing that you get enthused about. But this beer was delicious. Just right. I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I'm broke, I'm unemployed, I got lousy reception, but this moment is perfect.
I really must interrupt.
I told you.
Well, I don't think it's fair to judge the entire human race based on such a limited sample.
Hey, take a little responsibility for your own actions, why don't you?
We're going to hell and I know
Hey,
it.
she said we can say what we want.
Yeah, but we don't know if she's going to be loving and forgiving or righteous and vindictive.
Marty insists on giving me human qualities. It's quite a projection.
You created us.
I gave you free will.
Oh, that's it, pass the buck.
I am not passing the buck.
You and your free will, what good is it anyway? I exert my free will all over the place and all it does is get me
You
thrown
don't
out of
understand
bars.
the concept. I gave you a choice.
Oh, like
like being able to vote for a president and making both the candidates choice.
There's more to it than that.
If I had free will, do you really think this is the life I would have free will?
Maybe it is.
Well, if you designed me to make the free will choice of this life, then you are really sick.
Bobby, please.
It's like everything that's supposed to be great about this world is she's supposed to get credit for, and everything that's lousy is our fault.
Excuse
It's
me.
not fair. It's just not fair.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, but our time is almost over.
If I may, I have one final question.
Go ahead, Professor.
Do you think the world is getting better or worse?
Oh, whoops.
Much worse, everyone knows that.
Why do you keep living?
What do you mean?
I mean, your lives vary in quality from boring to dismal. Your future holds no promise. Why do you keep living?
I just dropped 10 pounds, I'm not gonna die now.
And this is why you keep living?
Well, I mean, we also have to stick around for our kids.
Yeah.
I mean, without us, who would be the role models?
I think you blew it. Well, I know, they're great kids, but you can't tell that by looking at them.
They're gonna be fine eventually, they're just gonna have to go through a rough patch.
I'm sorry, I still don't understand. With your attitudes, why do the two of you keep living?
I'll tell you why. There's things in life to look forward to, you know? Special things that make life worth living.
Name three.
Well, look, on Thursdays, I get a double discount coupon. And on weekends, I get to sleep in late. And about every 6 months, I'll give out a phone number to someone, and they'll say thank you, like they really meant it.
Aren't those rather trivial things?
So, I'll lead a rather trivial life, I know it.
I don't think you guys understand how hard it is to be a human being.
Is it difficult?
I bet it is.
You never feel like you have enough brains.
You always get these urges, these impulses that make no sense whatsoever.
Your kids look to you for answers, but you can't think of anything, so you end up giving them the same stupid answers your parents gave you.
When I think that there might be people stupider than I am, I get scared. So why'd you do it?
Do what?
Why'd you make us so messed up?
You don't understand. I didn't create humans so that each of them individually would work perfectly. I created them so that society as a whole would work perfectly.
Oh, but society as a whole does not work perfectly.
It doesn't work perfectly at all, and we have it better off than most people.
Do you?
Yeah, most people, if they don't go through childhood without dying of hunger or starvation, all they've got left is a life of misery, pain, and injustice.
But I gave human beings all the resources you guys need. I gave you the ingredients for paradise.
You're a real tease, you know that? You made the world so wonderful, but our lives so difficult. I mean, I know we're not the best examples of human beings, but we're trying our best, and we want our kids to turn out okay, and we want to lead happy lives, but you know what it's like when you're trying your hardest and your life still sucks.
Good work, buddy. Come on, don't cry. You do good.
No, I do not.
You do too. You're a good wife, you're a good mother, and you're one of the best damn assistant directory operators in Dayton. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, anyone that needs a phone number and calls you is a lucky man. Hey, if our kids turn out okay,
If?
and when our kids turn out okay, it'll all be because of you.
Well,
I hope they end up nothing like you. That's my hope for the future.
I think we're ready to decide.
But all humans aren't like this. Only you met John and Mary.
Yeah, show off a couple bozos you made life easy for.
I gave them the same universe I gave you.
Oh, you sound just like my mom sometimes, you know that?
John and Mary have done so much with their lives.
John is the biggest kiss ass in Dayton.
He is not.
He is too. Even when he goes to church, it's not to pray, it's just to suck up to you.
I see.
Oh, and Mary's worse.
Is she, Edna?
do I have to be honest?
We would appreciate it.
Well, Mary, for who the record no longer has the nose you gave her, I mean, she meant that. Have you ever tried to just sit down and have a conversation with her? Oh, Edna, I killed so many people today. Of course, not as many people as you gave out phone numbers to.
They're great people, all right. I'm sure they would have given you all the answers you would have wanted.
And for the rest of our lives, they would have bored us at dinner parties saying how they helped the Almighty get an A.
Can I just say one thing on my behalf?
Go ahead. This is your chance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Please.
We're listening.
It looks so good on paper.
Thank you. We'll caucus now and decide your final grade.
Please, start it from me. Yeah.
Don't agree to go for anything.
My MU.
MU?
Master of the Universe.
How to get to the exquisite beauty of the design.
But they're not practical.
I ask you a question about the universe that has troubled me since I was a kid?
Sure.
How come there's maple walnut ice cream and butter pecan ice cream and not maple pecan and butter walnut?
I don't think I can answer that.
Nobody.
Despite all of their flaws, they have existed for thousands and thousands of years.
And they have such nice feet.
No, I agree, their feet are indeed nice. It's from the ankles up that they make me nervous.
Their genetic engineering is most advanced.
And they're also biodegradable.
Some story to tell our friends.
Oh, I'm afraid once you've teleported back to Earth, you're not going to remember his name.
There goes the movie sale.
I already decided what I was gonna wear on the talk shows.
Let's face it, we're gonna have to spend the rest of our lives as ordinary people.
Yes, there is much wrong with the project, but I still don't think it's fair to call the student an underachiever.
I just don't see why she created them, I really don't.
Maybe they're not perfect, but there is something so beautiful and special about them.
Do you mind if I take my slippers off?
Go right ahead.
You gotta stop buying those teeny shoes. You do not. You keep insisting that your feet are smaller than they are, and that's why your feet are always in such lousy shape.
I'm changing my grade.
We've decided there is much that is commendable about your project, both in Earth's evolutionary ability and its astonishing variety of beauty. The human being is wondrous and fascinating. Nevertheless, the three of us agree that there are some tragic flaws in its design. Look at them. They're so scared and confused by their own drives. What good are all of their noble qualities if, by adulthood, most of them have developed a grudge against life itself? I'm afraid we're going to have to give you a C+.
A C plus?
I'm sorry.
I created fruits and vegetables and birds that fly and fishes swim and athletes and thinkers and leaders, and all I get is a C plus? I created this project, everything I had, everything.
Some of us felt that the grade was generous.
All I can say is it's easy to judge. Real easy. How do you know right now your entire dimension is not in someone else's science project? I bet right now someone else is giving your entire dimension a D.
I don't understand after all your complaints.
Okay, I was in a bad mood. You got us at a bad time.
It was just before bedtime.
And on Saturday night, if you catch my drift.
Those 6 minutes mean a lot to us.
I sort of hoped, but I never assumed.
Of course.
I keep worrying that they're gonna come out with a silicon chip.
No.
I don't see why they go on living, I really don't.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because things could get better, that's why.
Yeah, things could get better.
And what makes you say that?
Tell them.
I haven't the slightest idea. I guess when push comes to shove, we're all just designed to have faith.
See, she's not as big of a jerk as you think she is.
I'm sorry. The grade is fine.
You want my advice? Next time, don't make them in your own image. It's very narcissistic.
Take care of your feet. Always treat cows with respect.
Now, don't be too hard on us. You did your best.
That makes it even more depressing.
It's only a universe. It'll pass.
I'm sorry if we blew your word.
It's not your fault. Should have never moved on the seventh day.
If it makes you feel better, we're glad you created us.
Are you Harvey?
I mean, all in all, when I think about it, life's not that bad. Once we get over the disappointment and things.
I'll remember that.
Like, I know we're messed up, but I'm also glad that we're here.
Thanks.
Want to grab a brew?
I should probably have you teleported back to Earth.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, there's such thing as reincarnation.
Oh, I can't sleep.
No, you don't have to tell me anything, but if there is, could you bring me back as a bunny rabbit? Everybody likes bunny rabbits.
Or could you bring me back as an eagle?
An eagle?
But just once I'd like to fly real high on my own power, like real high, and get a clear view of the whole shebang.
That's a real nice desire, Martin.
Yeah, well,